Okay,
Broadcast is
here we
live.
are.
There you go.
Greetings, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island, Hawaii. Have we got a show for you today? All right. I'll let Tina say hello. Greetings, Tina.
Hello, I'm Tina Barrett here. Hi, Tommy, from the UK in Southampton. Hope you're doing fine over there, and we'll crack on with the show and we'll say the rest at the end. Over to you, Tommy.
All right. So there's so many topics I want to get in today. What's going on in the world, what's happening here in Hawaii, what's happening around the world as well. But sit down, get ready for some real information. This is not make-believe stories. I'm not paying anybody to tell stories. And this is as real as it's going to get. And hopefully in a week, by next show we do, I should have pictures. So we'll see. All right. I just want to say, here in Hawaii, we've been having rain every night, clouds all night. For the past week now has been the first time Hawaii's skies have been pretty clear on and off all night. So, and I had a problem because I have to go outside to see. But what I just did, I have a screen over my bedroom window. I just took the screen off so I can film through outside without the screen in my way now. And I spent all day trying to put a silk screen over it so when I have it open, the flies don't come in and everything. But it's so active, and I'm going to tell you why. In the past week, I talked to a few different people, and what each one had to say boggled my mind. Now, I've been giving cameras to everybody around my neighborhood. People next door, I gave them a camera. People around the corner, I gave them a camera to use. And nobody's using them. And they keep telling me they see things. And I took the camera back from one person, gave it to the other person. So I let it in, the other person said what he's going to do with it. But here's the thing. Yesterday, I was walking my dog. And I said to myself, do I want to walk all the way down to the ocean or not? It's only about almost a mile, a little less than a mile. And I said, do I want to walk that far? I said, sure. So I started walking my dog, and I see a friend of mine who actually took care of one of the houses right on the cliffs of the ocean. He goes, guess what? I saw my first UFO. I said, congratulations. He goes, but listen to this. From then on, it was mind-boggling because he said the ship was over a block or 2 blocks long. He says it covered the whole block where we were standing on. Once it came in, it covered from there all the way over to the park, which is like maybe 6 blocks. So he said, not only that, I could see the windows on it. They were rectangle windows, not in any kind of pattern, not like they were just straight across or anything. And he said it just came over, and everything around it was like black. But he said it was mine because he could feel some incredible energy. And I said, wow. And he goes, I said, you get a picture of it? He goes, no, but my friend did. So his friend in a different section filmed a couple pictures of it. I'm waiting for those pictures. So I'm sitting there standing there talking to him. He's in his car and I'm outside his car. And these 2 women come by, which I know, and they stop to say hello, and they were listening to us. And they go, oh, we were down by the cliff sitting over down on the park on that side right there. This giant mothership was coming over the ocean straight towards us and then just disappeared. And at that point, I said, I need to do a lot more work. I ordered a bicycle, a 3-wheel bicycle, because I have a cart. I'm going to put all my cameras in there and ride down to the ocean. It's been 3 months fighting with them, Wish, trying to get them to order it. They shipped it out, went to Florida. I had to reorder it. Then they shipped it. They said it was out of stock. So now they gave me my money back, and then they gave me a 30% discount. I reordered it. So I'm going to be getting my bike, 3-wheel bike with a big frame thing in the back so I could do that.
Well done. Yeah.
But in the interim, all right, I said, well, that's 2 different people. And I come back this morning. I just ran outside, so the person next door, and I'm talking to him about what I just saw. And his guy, his worker, just came out and said, I just saw a mothership just last week. It was about 1.5 blocks long. The whole sky blacked out. And he said when he went to grab his camera, it just disappeared. So that's a couple, 2 girls, a witness, another guy, a witness, and another guy, a witness, all within this month now. All right.
So to carry on from that, sorry to cut you off. You need to check your messenger, Tommy, because I sent you a couple of pictures. So this week, just because this fits in exactly with what you're saying. So I can do better than photographs. I can do live film, live on telly, on Russian TV and French TV, and they took video, films, pictures, and stills. Russia Today, I'll tell you the date, on the 14th of February this year, on French television, Russia Today was given a live interview to one of the French news people. And on their news segment, it's called Segnet, I think it was, Russia Today's news segment. Live on telly, they actually, behind this woman who was outside somewhere in France, this thing sped across the screen while they was talking, and the Russian said, "Oh, dog, can you rewind the film?" Because it was live. Rewound the film, and it's a UFO. This huge UFO shot across, went sideways, did a little wobble. Planes don't do that. It didn't have any wings on it, no propulsion, nothing. This thing went like that, right across the screen, and it shot. They had to slow it down so much. So they took stills of it and put pictures of stills out. They've got it on footage, live film, camera, and they took pictures of it. So the Russians have that, and the French. And you can watch it, and you guys go on Russia Today, live French newscast for Segnet on the French TV, spotted live. So that was on the 14th. 2 days before that, so go on the internet or on Russia Today or French Today, French news, or on, it should be by now all over YouTube. There was a live Russian-French report for Russia Today News, and that was on Valentine's Day, 14th of the 2nd. So that kind of backs up what Tommy's been saying, because these things are getting lower. It was in a main city, and it was in full view of the camera. You can't get more fresh live evidence than that.
You know, it's funny. They released a video, a couple people, with Russia's releasing this ship that they're going to release next year. That's going to hold 2 people and suitcases, and it looks just like an egg.
Oh, yeah.
They just released that video saying that it's going to be released next year. All right. They're not saying how it flies, what controls it, or how, or anything like that. But our technology, you have to realize, if somebody's driving it, you got 2 eggs traveling in space like this, right? However, I can't even get my fingers there. Coming. How do you step on your brake in space?
I think that, so when you, my perception is it's about thought rather than braking. But that's like a dimensional travel instead of time travel, if you get me.
Well, I mean, even now they're having problems with the drones in the United States. Somebody got hit in the head with them when they grabbed their package and things like that.
Oh my God.
They're trying to deliver packages. They're going to have everything automatic. Musk said every car will be driving itself by the end of the year. All right. He said all the old cars can. They just have to get re-chipped because they have the same ability to drive itself. But now that the computer chip that they're putting in there will drive it. So we're running into a lot of things now. People better be aware. Technology is not what we want, not what we need. We need real food. We need purification of the planet and things that help us stay alive, not technology that's trying to bring us into this super galactic, who knows what kind of world where Corey Good is doing his movie on, where he's in this world of the future. All right. I'm a rebel. Just so you know, people, I only deal with the truth. And anything, if somebody's trying to say it's the truth, prove it in any way. I keep.
Well, if we go much further, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you again. So, you know, your friend said he saw this ship the other day, 2 days before the French. I think there's a theory to it, but 2 days before, so on the 12th of February, because the 14th was when Russia Today spotted it and French TV spotted it live on their exchange. On the 12th of February, 2 days before this, there was also, I believe it was another newsreader. It was in broad daylight again, because that was in broad daylight, that news interview. First thing in the morning, it was live on TV. So I think this one was mid-afternoon. Someone took a photograph. They were filming and took a photograph of a UFO. It's clearly defined a UFO. You can see the segments on it, huge oval thing in 2 pictures. They tried to say it was a lens flare, and they're like, no, lens flares has a flare, it's not a color. You can't see a definite oval shape. You can see the darkness, you can see like the windows, that you can see everything in it. And that was on the 12th. But On the same day, 2 days later, they had a few other sightings around the world as the Starlink SpaceX dual launch. So they didn't launch one. They announced that they were launching one. They actually launched two. The Starlink satellites were launched, and a cargo ship were both launched on Valentine's Day. So it's coincidental they're seeing more of these ships around more launches, and this time of year, and with a hive of activity. And also, I'm not sure if you know this, the American government or someone in there released this week and confirmed. I've got a book. I'll have it in there in a sec. Confirming that Washington said yes, they do have crash wreckages from a few or several UFO crash ships. They're just saying unidentified. They're not saying alien at the moment. And they said they've had them for many, many, many years, and that they are using the tech from these ships. And that was disclosed this week.
Well, for me, see, the news that's coming out is old news to me. I dealt with a person from Majestic 12. I dealt with the person that worked on Tesla's invention for the government. He was one of the people that back engineered the UFO, the first one we shot down. And so to me, it's all real. It's not like it's new information. But for people that don't even believe that there's UFOs or aliens or anything like that dealing with us, it's going to be an eye opener. The United States is supposed to be releasing all their files within 100 days. All right. Now, they released an incredible story last week. And what I'm thinking they're going to do is trying to mind boggle, I won't say another word, a person's thinking. They put one of the most abstract stories you could ever imagine out as real. I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm not going to confirm it in any which way, but they said a Navy ship shot down a UFO, and they were pulling it onto the ship when there was a group of aliens standing there. And they shot this beam and turned 22 people on a crew into stone. Now, supposedly they took those people and put them in a chamber and everything else. But the story is so crazy. So when they release stories, it's going to say, well, this is all, and they won't believe anything. So it's like, let's tell them the truth so that they don't believe the truth. So these ridiculous stories they're putting out, I call it ridiculous because if that really happened, guess what? We're really in trouble. So they're not going to tell us the truth as far as the way it really happened. Like, okay, did we land on Mars yesterday, anytime soon?
I think I watched, believe it or not, I watched the sound Doppler on the for the Chinese one. They orbited. They came into low orbit to circle round on the Mars, around the Mars orbit. I believe the Chinese, no, the Arab Emirates one went into orbit on the same day, and they have taken its first pictures of Mars.
Well, us were supposed to land on it.
Okay. I think they have. I haven't seen, they've blanketed the news on that because the picture they took before they landed, look, Mars is red. In the light they cast from the sun, it looked like a picture of the Earth. You could see bits of blue and.
Yeah, see, they don't want us to see that. I'm sure they don't. But we will. Hopefully.
I haven't personally seen any Arab Emirates pictures this week. I saw a rendition drawing of what it would look like when it landed, but as far as I know, it arrived. So if it's arrived, it should be. Apparently, they said it was going to circle, encompass the planet for a couple of days to get a better landing spot or get a better view of the actual landing spot before they sent the landing probe down, which is, it's understandable.
Oh, I'm trying to think who it was.
So they've got two. They've got the Chinese there, and they have the Arab Emirates there.
Well, he's a UFO. He filmed the rods.
Oh yeah.
He died 2 years ago. But he put a movie out with Kodak of the moon in full color. It's outrageous. However they impose the color, whatever the facts are, that it made it look incredibly beautiful. So whether it's really colored or not, if you shoot in black and white, you're only going to see black and white. So the whole moon thing was shot in black and white. So if it
Yeah, I
was
think you can also see radiation that affected some of the shots there. Oh, my hair.
well, so here's the thing. I've been saying this, and I say this is the year it's gonna all come out, every which way, the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's gonna be very little good, so just warning you with that. The bad and the super ugly is gonna be coming out, and what's happening. All right, now Tina's story is real. All right, I trust her 100%. She has more proof in a lot of different ways than any of the UFO people. Well, now, uh, basically, they're trying to tell a story from the 1960s. Richard Dolan, he's telling a story about this couple that were abducted, the woman was, and all that. I said, 1960. You think that's going to help us right now if a ship land on our property tomorrow? We're in a different world, different time frame, and different things are happening. And what's going to happen is a lot different than what happened then. So, I mean, I'm talking about a mothership, not a little cigar coming by. I'm talking about a giant mothership.
And I must say, lots of people are not talking about modern abductions. There's like the Kim Carlsberg event. They did, I think they did like a little story on her, and they did some filming. I'm not sure if she's wrote a book. I think she's on Facebook as well. I'm not sure. I think she is actually, but there's not enough being done about modern abduction. And people that do remember, I'm not sure if I'm fortunate or unfortunate. To me, it's not been a good positive overall positive thing. But they're not listening to modern abductees and what they are remembering. If they're remembering certain scenarios, it wasn't until I gave David Hodrin, Mr. David Hodrin, he was a UFO investigator. He's a chairman of BUFOL, Birmingham UFO Group here in England. And it wasn't until he heard my account and we went over it and we did the drawings and I spoke to him and everything, all the detail that I could remember. Things I couldn't, I just said, no, I couldn't remember. And when I'd finished a certain part, he said, do you know what? That's absolutely crazy. I said, what? He said, another woman I interviewed like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, had said the exact thing. It was the same coloured light that she see, same thing happened to her. So there is a pattern for abduction, but why aren't they showing modern people in this day and age what are they happening, what are they remembering, what are they doing to us? So there is a collection out there. They're talking about something that happened over half a century ago. Well, that's fine, but like Tommy said, we're in modern times now. If they're going over ancient things all the time, they're never going to learn anything new. And as far as I'm concerned, there are more people out there that have not come forward or are just realising, or millions of people that have been taken that don't even realise it. I think the human race has been more of a guinea pig than anybody could really imagine. But they should be listening to abductees. They should be having a collection of our interviews, of our accounts, and using what they found out to the human race's advantage. And they're not doing that. Why aren't they doing that? If they had a scientific, if I turned around and said there's a pink monkey in the woods and 25 other people see it in different countries, but they only saw it in certain parts of the country at different times, and housewives saw it because they were home all day or they were home all night. And are you going to believe I saw a pink monkey? Are you how? But if 25 other women gave exactly the same description, same time of day or same type of features, they'd look into that. What was it doing? What was it eating? And they'd accumulate information. They are not doing that. Why? If this is a scientific breakthrough for mankind, defense weapons, what we're doing here, who is doing this to us, these answers would be done more quickly. Why is that not so? Especially if these scientific people are trying to prove that these things like the pink monkey don't exist. Why aren't they out there proving us wrong?
Well, it's a scenario. I brought this up on Richard Dolan's site because he was going on about this story. I said, you want stories? I'll give you 3 stories right now. And I'm going to tell you 2 of them right now because they were important when I went through it. I was living out on Long Island. And my friend was friends with one of the top surveyors who built all the millionaire houses on Long Island. And we got to stay in his house for a month. He has a steam room on each floor. He had 3 floors. The swimming pool was on top of the house. And all his glass windows overlooked the ocean. Well, he had to go to Europe or somewhere for a month. So we had to babysit his house. So I'm looking, and I heard noise. So I went down underneath his house. There was all these skeletons laid out perfectly straight, all right, in a row. All different kind of animals.
Oh.
Now, when an animal eats an animal, it doesn't lay the bones out perfectly straight. So whatever entity was putting these creatures underneath the house of these animals laid them out perfectly straight. I took all the skeletons home when I left. I put them all in a big box and took them. But he had no clue. But here's what he told me when he came home when I asked him. He goes, well, listen to this. He pulled out a newspaper clipping from the story, and he says, here, look at this. He says, my girlfriend and me, in front of the glass window, they were making love, right? And they were both naked. And they see a ship crash into the ocean. After it crashed into the ocean, they were both beat red. They didn't know what to do. So they called the hospital up. The hospital told them, take 3 aspirins and go to bed. And they did. They said they woke up the next morning and nothing was wrong.
If you saw a UFO crash in England, there's no one to report it to.
Well, what I'm saying is these people were told by the hospital to do something which was already informed to them to do if they had the exposure to the UFO that crashed into the ocean. But I was in his house, and he showed me the newspaper articles and everything else. So it's an incredible story of that time, because also that's where John Ford got the UFO crash. I don't know if anybody remembers that. He's still in jail. Well, he's in a nut house. He can't go to trial because the government keeps saying he's too insane to go to trial. They got to reevaluate him every year since 1996. But I saw his video. His video showed the ship crash in Long Island. It came in on an angle and went to about about 3/4 of a mile of the trees. It notched them all out when it came in, and they tried burning that all down to try to burn the evidence away. But when I went there, all the trees were all notched out where the ship actually hit the trees.
In Rendlesham Forest here in the UK, where it was an American Army base on British soil, and there was the Rendlesham Forest incident where a UFO landed, and it was specifically for the 3 days it was seen, and it was hovering over the nuclear weapons storage area, and at RF Bentwaters, and they cut half the forest down because this thing had hit a couple of trees and left radiation markers on the trees and the growing rings and that. And they chopped the trees down. Half the forest, they just chopped them all down.
Well, like what they did in Long Island, they burned that whole area. They quarantined the area for like 3 weeks. It was roughly about a mile and a half, and they had stations so nobody can go in there. But during that time frame, these black trucks were going in and out, big black trailers, and they were moving the debris. But I saw the picture. It was an alien ship that crashed there, and the aliens were laying on the side of it. So yeah, it was condemned. So what he did, he took that film and shipped it around the world to 4 places and said, don't release this unless I'm killed, which was a stupid thing, because he was arrested. They framed him. They said he had uranium and he was going to kill Congress.
I remember you telling me, yeah.
So this story, though, but I saw the video, and it's probably would have been the most important video of a UFO crash. That was crystal clear. I mean, you could see the ship, you could see the aliens, and it wasn't like it was blurry and dark and all those kind of things. So, but there's proof out there, and the proof seems to get squashed, hidden. The people that have it get killed. So somebody was saying, well, how come you're alive? I said, I don't stay on top of the UFO world. I try to talk about spiritual things in between. But the proof, look at Tina's proof. Look what they do to Tina, like when she went to the hospital. Look what they do with proof that's really important for people to see. It gets squashed. I mean, we need to be aware that when we say freedom and free rights and all that, we want freedom of speech. No, how about we just see what's really happening in the United States or wherever we live? What's really happening there? That's much more important than, I can go out and curse somebody out and say it's okay.
Sorry, it's my dog making that noise. Scratching the carpet. Stop it. My dog, sorry. Stop it. I've got John on.
So now we're in 2021, and I'm saying, look, this is the year it's all going to happen. The earthquake chart is escalated to the max. I don't know if anybody knows this. The past 2 weeks, all the islands. Now, here's something that you got to relate to. I've been dealing with this a lot. Nobody does. Australia has the biggest army base on the planet. It's called Pine Gap, and
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
it looks like these giant snowballs from the outside. All right, but here's the thing: all those islands around there are having earthquakes. 2 days ago, one of the islands had a 7.2, 6.9, 6.5, 6.4. Now, all the islands around there have been having super big earthquakes the past 2 weeks. Could it relate to all these giant UFOs coming in? I
Well,
mean,
I've said that all along. The UFOs ships are. I'm not sure if it's the electrical magnetic field or if it's the lava, the heat. They're attracted to the volcanism. That when they show me a bit of their history in that planet they took me to that imploded or exploded, they were doing tests and they were really interested in the magnetic field underwater of these volcanoes. So yeah, I completely concur. And every country that said that they've had a nuclear radiation blast or they've had a major eruption has all reported UFOs. So yeah, I quite believe it. And
well,
John's asking for a radiation check, Tommy.
there's a real. We'll do it in a second. A real famous person in Mexico. He's been dealing with the ships and filming the ships going in and out of the volcano. When I first moved to Hawaii 18 years ago, a friend I made friends with, he said, "Come on my house. I got a video of ships going in and out of the volcano." I went over there to see them. They were really grainy. I mean, he goes, "Well, let's do a movie." I said, "They're not high enough quality to try to do a movie with them. I mean, it looks too fuzzy. It's really hard to make everything out and stuff." I said, "No, we can't use that." But I'm saying, when the volcano was active, the ships were going in and out of it. So their technology and themselves have to be in a different situation. First off, the human body can't travel at the speed of light. All right, the human body can't do that. I don't want to go into multiple stories which can
See,
describe.
but the beings, they choose to be in those bodies. Their bodies that these beings have, they're like not machines, but they're jelly bodies, what have you. They're like jelly baby bodies. They choose, they can leave their essence or entity, whatever it is, their consciousness can leave or enter those bodies for that purpose. We can't leave our bodies until we die. They choose to be like that. That's the difference. I think that's how they get away with it.
Well, but the temperature, like, I mean, I saw a ship go into the sun. I filmed the giant ship go in front of the sun. But even to be that close to it without it burning up, without getting all that kind of things, uh, what I'm saying is that they do wear a suit. I'm going to throw this story in. You don't have to believe it. I was dealing with a couple of scientists. They said they're taken to Mars, Venus, twice a year, and they got to put this suit on, and then they get injected with something, which keeps their body from breaking down or whatever happens to them in space. So obviously, these aliens have different technology because some of them are very much human.
Well, I've
Like if
been to
you're
Jupiter and I didn't have anything on.
well,
And
you're
they took brought me back as well.
a nudist going to Jupiter. Well,
I've been to Jupiter and back.
I'm bad
You
with
may
names.
see ships, but I've been in one.
I'm bad with names, but I did a UFO conference with two people. But the woman was the one that was working for the government, tracking the ships coming in and out. She lost a month's time. She was put on a ship and brought to the moon. Why? She said she was sexually abused the whole time. But it was by the people on the ship, the U.S. government people, not the aliens. She said there was two aliens there, and they kept warning them. They said, "You don't know who you're fooling around with." But they didn't stop it either. So, but when she came back, she remembered all that. But she said, "I don't know why they took me to the moon. They didn't let her off the ship." And when she was doing a conference, she would be crying every time she started speaking and everything else. I wanted to do hypnosis with her, but she never left her room. She had a boyfriend there, but she would stay in the room. She wouldn't come out.
See,
I said,
those creatures, these little alien beings, they don't. I never saw any sex orientation or organs. It wasn't because if they were all in a row and you asked me to pick one out, they're like kind of identical, but maybe different shades or what have you. They're all, basically the same. But when you're speaking to them, when they're talking to you in your head, and you're speaking to them, they give a present. It's like, I know I'm talking to you, you're speaking in a male voice with a male tone and like a male gender. When you're speaking to a female, I only ever spoke to one. I didn't really speak to her. She wasn't. Every time I've spoken to him, it's
Oh, I
always
didn't
been a
open
male
up the chat
presence.
room.
Sorry?
I said I didn't open up the chat room. I just opened it up.
All right. So I've always been a male. The only time I spoke to a female, or knew there was a female, was when and that was in the presence of the time they took me and my mum, and they were there with those mask things on. But the rest of the time, can I have a cup of tea, please? The rest of the time, they were male beings, and they weren't sexually interested in me or anything. Especially when all those people were on that, they were awake, but they were asleep but awake, and they were on that thing on the ceiling. It's terrible. So there's hundreds of thousands of people out there. Well, I don't think it's like aliens would, but they rub machines on me to take out bits and pieces. So so that's how they've been. Yeah.
Well, I bring up the word experiences. I kind of attack it all the time because all these experiences have the most incredible stories, no evidence. And now Corey Good is putting a movie out. I think it's $30 to watch it. It's supposed to be his story being taken into the future for 20 years and into this futuristic city, coming back to this planet. But he talks about the blue race, which he works with, looks like bird people. I debated him. I didn't debate him yet. I challenged him for a debate. I said, look, you want to talk about the blue beings? There's 3 different blue races. And I'd love to debate you on your race that you deal with. And I said, look, if they show you videos inside your brain, that's called programming. All right. And then they expect you to believe it, or you do believe it. A lot of these experiences that have these experiences have this whole experience that they believe in, whether they really went through it, whether it's an illusion, just a created story in their brain or mind. And I'm telling you, it probably is. Getting back to, did they really leave the planet? Did they really go to these other worlds and everything else? Why we, Tina and me, do the show? We're trying to keep the facts as real as we can. We're not doing this for money. I'm not. She isn't. So it's not about making money. I mean, I pay to do this show, which is fine, because I feel I have to give back somehow to the world, something, and not lies, twisted stories. I can make up great stories, and I can. If I wanted to lie, I could probably be one of the top UFO people out there, because I have actual experiences in so many different things, but nobody wants to believe any of it. But I mean, I have proof, not like everybody else. So here's the thing. Are you ready for the truth? Tell your friends to listen to this show, call in, ask questions. Please, we keep the line open. We're here to help people become aware of where they are, what's happening, what's going on around them. Not to feed them false information, tell them la stories to make them feel good. And we're definitely not here to make you feel good. I mean, Tina might try to make a couple of jokes here and there, but we're not trying to make you happy about what's happening. Because what happened to her all her life wasn't the most pleasant, happy, spiritual thing. And it was probably anything but that. Even Fire in the Sky, when he put that Travis Walton, his story is not a happy, loving story. So it's all these experiences. Well, we went out to dinner, they took us to all these planets, and they showed us all these things. Really? And not one of them even has a pencil from a ship. So we need to be aware of the lies, the twisted stories. I mean, I've been debating Richard Dolan. He puts out a book every other month, and now his new book. And I said, "Oh, you're right along with Michael Salla, who's in Hawaii. He's putting out books, and all his books attack the secret government." I said, "You don't know much about it. You hear program people say things about it, and you write books about it. He never even saw a UFO, never saw an alien, and you're going to talk about it?" I mean, Tina and I have a little more abilities and reason to talk about something that we actually experienced, not about, well, he said this and she said that. We're not here, she said that. We're about proof that I had, proof about she had. That makes us a little more aware and conscious about what we're saying.
Tommy is right. I mean, to me, I'm not bothered either way. It's good that people like Mr. Jalen speak out. I think it's good. Anyone that wants to speak out about the UFO subject and throw light on it, it is okay, really, in my book. Providing you're sticking to the points, you're sticking to the facts, and sometimes people bring to cases to light that never been heard, which is always a good thing. But you can only dig over the old dirt so many times. There's so much, not new stuff out there, but stories that aren't being told. They think, oh, wow, it's fantastical. That can't be real. These things are real. They're happening. They're not just happening to like flash people and royal families and presidents' wives and newscasters. These things are happening to everyday people, and that's what they should be looking at.
Well, I went on a vision quest. All right. I was on a vision quest with a person who is a Hopi elder. And basically, he talked about Planet X, Nibiru, many, many years ago. He was one of the first people going around the United States lecturing on that. And he explained they called it a ship and it's coming and all that. But he brought me on a vision quest. And when I met with him, he was talking about explaining about that to me. All right. Now, these Hopi people, he's half Hopi. And we were talking about what was going on in that reality. The problem is there's so many stories pushed into that. Because right now we hear this story. See, I don't believe in people telling stories that have nothing to do with it. Again, what I'm saying is proof, actual proof. You can tell a great story, and it's what he thinks. But if he can't prove it, how do we even know it's close to the truth?
I think a lot of the like biblical old stories and a lot of the verbal stories passed down with nomadic tribes, either the Indians, the North American Indians, or the Australian Aboriginals. I think they're very honest and very true stories. Just because people think, "Oh, wow, that can't happen," but it can happen. It is happening, or has happened. It's translated down.
All right, on that, I'm half Native. I went across the United States and sat down with many, many elders, medicine people, chiefs, and you name it. I got to be with Thomas Binyaka, was the oldest Hopi elder carrying the Hopi prophecy. All right. Now, recently, over the past 20 years, we have a couple medicine people coming out saying they work with the star beings. All right. No proof, no evidence. Oh, they work with them. You know, when they say they work with Bigfoot as well. All right. In the history of the native tribes, getting back 400 years, in 400 years, 50 million native people were killed. So what kind of help do you think star beings or Bigfoot gave them? And now they're bragging about, oh, they help us, they help us. Help you what? Start a fire? Kill? I'm sorry, I'm Native, and I look at truth. I said, where did they help you? What? And Native people didn't need aliens for medicine. They always knew whatever medicine was around them, whatever plants were around them, was the cure for any sickness they got. And until the white man came in and brought them diseases that they didn't have, they weren't able to cure it right away. But they created something called the cancer answer many years ago. Once they started getting cancer, they came up with a cure for it, for them. You could buy it in a drugstore right now. But the problem is, their stories, any of their stories, the white buffalo woman, I mean, about the pipe carrot and all that, they're great stories, Turtle Island, try to say, okay, they're not even closely feasible. All right. To me, it has to have some kind of reality in a world of reality. So when you say stories, when you listen to these stories, I mean, like the Anunnaki story, if you want to believe they created the human race, that's your choice. If you believe Zecharia Sitchin and these people that told stories and recreated what they wanted us to believe, what they said it said. But when people write, anybody, including the Bible, when a person writes a story, it's an idea. All right. It's an idea of their creating of a story, which is only partial. If I'm going to do a biography of you, if I'm not living with you 24 hours every day, I can't fill in all the parts about you that I don't know. With truth. So they got to fill in all those parts with what they don't know. So nobody was with Jesus. Nobody was with these people day and night. Nobody knows what Moses did at nighttime, where he went, what he was thinking of all the time. So the ideas, when it was written, Moses wrote a third of the Bible. So all that came out of his ego. So when we go into writing, the Anunnaki, when they wrote, or the Emerald tablets and the Sumerian tablets, all right, who wrote them? A person did. I mean, even the Ten Commandments wasn't written by God. I mean, that's the way man wrote about it. I mean, so here's the thing. The truth is very little to be found out anywhere in our history and in our religions. It's programmed ideas fed down from another programmed idea. Now, Bigfoot is not a friendly creature. Never was. So when
I
you
don't
people,
blame him. Would you want to make friends with someone who's going to eat you, shoot you, kill you, drown you, and skin you? No, nor would
well,
I.
but here's the thing: Bigfoot have been stealing, robbing cattle from families and farms. They live on meat. So when they live near a community, they take what animals they can get. So, and I have multiple, when I was lecturing in the late 96, from then on, people used to say, oh, well, we heard this noise and our cows were gone. And we saw the distance two Bigfoot carrying a cow away. So, they're not friendly. They're not here to teach us, even though I was friends with Yoni, who is one of the big names in the Bigfoot world. Said he worked with them for 40 years, and now he married a woman who says she works with them as well. And they work on a ship with all the alien races and all this stuff. I listened to the stories. You know what happens to a story when it's told over? It gets bigger.
Can you ask them next time you're speaking to them, ask them what they did with all my embryos then? Because surely if they're speaking to all those races, they would have spoken to the one that adopted me. Can you ask them to give me some answers? Just there's some comments from our from John and
the elongated skulls, yeah. But they also showed how they did it in tribes where they put these bands around the head really tight to make their heads cone like that. The same as in tribes that make their neck 10 feet. 10 feet. I mean,
they put bands on, don't they?
They keep putting a band on every year, and it stretches their neck out. They can't take those bands off; they'll die if they do.
Yeah.
So again, when they put these bands around babies' heads and mold their head into a point and whatever they wanted to do.
I just touch on, sorry, totally unrelated. I'm jumping in, but I'll just, before I lose it on the screen, I'm just reading across. What accent do I have? I know I'm English, so it's probably a touch of a Hampshire hog, but to me, I sound normal and I don't sound like I have an accent. So when I hear Tommy, I could hear like it is like American accent. So is it a funny accent or is it hard to understand?
Yeah, I when I first started talking to you, it was a little hard for me to understand you.
I talk fast as well.
People from Jersey talk fast. I go everywhere. Oh, slow down. Unless you listen to Spanish, because it sounds like they're talking real fast. But everywhere I go, oh, people from Jersey talk so fast and they're so loud. Well, I'm still doing my partner, and it's like her saying, you're just screaming, you're screaming. I said, I'm just talking. Why are you talking too loud? So, we're used to talking in a different way. But yeah, my accent is different because wherever I go, oh, you're from York, aren't you? You're from York. And they always make fun of it that way. I said, no, Jersey's on the other side of the river.
I'm from Hampshire, a place called Hampshire in the UK. That's the southern part of the UK, just before you hit France.
Before I forget, Tina will talk about her books before we end the show. I have a few books out there. I give my first couple books away for free. I don't talk about UFOs in my books. I do have a PDF file called About UFOs, How to See a UFO Field Manual. Anybody that wants it, text me. Want to send it to somebody please. I will. I don't want to make money off of it either. I just want people to know how to see a UFO if they want to see one. Then why do they want to see a UFO? But see, I've been writing all my life, and my books are to me important. But my latest book is the most important book I ever did or probably ever will, because it explains a lot more about what Jesus came here to do than what's in the Bible. And common sense, if you read it, you'll understand it. All right, because Christians come out with ideas, religions come out with ideas, but they don't have factual proof, and it doesn't really help. If God was protecting everybody, why do people that are Christians get run over, shot, and all those other words that go along with it? Where's the protection? Protection means soul. Soul's protected. I mean, we have to live in this planet till we work off our karma. I mean, I don't want to get into that aspect of spiritualism, religion, whatever, but we're in a place now, aliens are here, and they don't care about it at all. They're not going to arrest abduct a Christian over a Muslim. I mean, they're not kind of like worried about that at all in their reality. So the concept of how many people are being abducted around the world, we don't know because people won't talk about it. I want to throw this in, Tina. I have a friend. I can't go into a lot of the details, but there's 120 doctors and lawyers that meet a couple times a year. They have a 2-week convention, and they talk about how they experience what happened to them. They can't go public. They don't want to lose their license, don't want to be certified or called crazy. So here's people that go through these things.
That's fine because they're doctors and they're richer people, or they're people with like high shot flying careers. But what about the general public? They've got no one to turn to, no one to talk to. Why should they just be recognised for special treatment?
No. Normal people could go to a UFO conference. Any normal person could go to any UFO conference and speak now. They want to hear these people speak. But how many people want to admit that they were abused? I mean, in the reality, if you get raped, they don't want to talk about it. If you get abused on a ship, you really don't want to talk about it. I mean, when I did regression, you bring a person to that spot, not you, but people I work with, it's bringing them into hell again.
Yeah,
and they really don't want, but you have to be able to pull them out of that. So, I mean, again, do you want to talk about that? And then second of all, do they want to believe it?
Well, this is it. I was given a lecture. They asked me to go and talk at I was further up north at a conference up in north of England, and I went up there, and there was a scientific or doctor person sat in the audience, and I was asking the questions, and he said, no, that doesn't happen. That would not happen. I'm like, yeah, it did happen. He said, no, I'm a doctor. I said, well, mistakes are made by hospitals every day. If things like this didn't happen, then you wouldn't have medical mistakes. Or things like this didn't happen. You know, how do you explain being sued for wrongful procedures? He wasn't having none of it. I don't know if it was whether to try and discount my story or account. I don't care. This is, people tell you what has happened to them. It's up to you whether you want to believe it or not. But until it actually happens to you and you've got something to say, or your account, and it's in you just need to get it out. You feel a need that you're here to do something, or you feel a need to get it out. Once you've got it out, you're fine. But yes. Right, Tommy, let's get the radiation, the Geiger counters out then. I'll have a sip of my tea.
Where's my Geiger counter? It's right over there. See, Geiger counter?
Yes, I'm saying 0 at the moment. Oh, there goes 23. Is it near the TV? That is volts per meter at the top. So that's probably
magnetic energy.
It might be coming from my TV, but if I pull it back, and I'm going to put it on my head.
Well, mine is 102.
Oh, there you go. So if you see the bottom, I'm giving off the bottom one is micro Teslas. So there you go. I'll give it off micro Teslas, which are now beeping. There you go. I don't know if you can see. Can you see the reading on that? Tommy's is flashing. Now, I'll try the other side. Can't know if you can see that. Yeah, it's going up the other side. It's a bit hard trying to look in there and get the light as well. There you go. Can you? It's the light, isn't it?
You got it tilted.
Oh no, I'm trying to get the light in. I don't want to get you. What's back here a bit? Right, there you go. So it's going off. I look quite weird trying to.
What do you when I pointed to?
What's the matter? Oh, look at my dog. Look. Come here. What's the matter? She's speaking to me. She didn't like that. Can you hear her?
One thing I noticed, Tina, you haven't been that radioactive recently.
Well, there you go. That's radiation.
You got radiation on the bottom?
Yeah, micro Teslas. That's what's beeping now. 54, 55, 60. Can you see it? And if I do the other side, right, can you let Inti out, please? Sorry, she's grizzling in it. There you go. And that's 456. There you go. 76.
No, the bottom is the radiation.
Yeah. Micro Teslas.
No, everybody see her blinking? See the radiation on hers? That's an impossibility. Radiation just can't turn on and turn off. Mine's at 140 now.
It's higher there. It's 92 there for a second. And then if I go this side, so it stops there. Look, nothing there. How do you get that there? Nothing there. And then there.
People, see, even that alone is something nobody else can do because people aren't radioactive like she is, on and off. And that's not healthy, people. Just, it could be affecting her greatly. She's really sick right now as well. And she had multiple symptoms of radiation poisoning. So wherever she got it, obviously she didn't get it from walking in the park.
If I put it near the TV, it go. There you go. So it's not. So I get electrical magnetic volts per meter is probably from the telly. But the bottom one is micro Teslas, radiation.
There's nothing coming from the TV, so it's coming from her. All right. Ask any scientist. Ask anybody. My brother's a chemist. He goes, "Oh, well, that's impossible."
My dog's not enjoying this.
And I know it's real because I took my Geiger counter, put it next to the microwave, took it into town where the cell tower is.
Take it places, and it will give you different readings, people.
It's only about $35, and you want to know if you're safe, even when you go to the food store. Get it. It's not a danger zone. I mean, it just warns you and tells you, even electromagnetic energy, when it beeps like that, it's at a level that the body's not adjusting to. So
I've got on my boob, it's 0.4. Nothing on my arm this time. It's not flashed on my neck. It's just on my head. There.
Tina, you can put your
there you go. There you go.
You know you're radioactive. All right, Tina, tell the world that you're okay right now, but you did have. Would you tell them what you experienced over the past couple months? What you would tell them?
Yeah, I had tiny blotches come out of me. I've lost loads of teeth. All my teeth have been falling out. I've lost some of my fingernails. I've had other things go wrong with me, with my digestion and other problems. I collapsed and headbutted a lamppost. That was like 6 months ago. My liver is going off the scale again. So I have blood tests for that today. And so I've had hair loss. I've had chunks of hair. Yeah, I've had
Black eye.
That was bad. That's why I hit the lamppost. But that's why I just blacked out, and next thing I know, I just went bang, and I don't remember. I hit the lamppost. I don't remember nothing, and that was it.
Okay, but I don't know how many years we're going to be able to do this, or how many months we're going to be able to do this before somebody might disappear on us. But her friends are watching her, and I told her to go out and look at the sky one day, and sure enough, they were over her. So, I say they're protecting her. I think they're keeping her alive rather than...
Well, that UFO spotted over the Isle of Wight is actually not far from where I live, the one that was caught on TV. And there's been a few lately around here, but to report them, I mean, you can't really see it until a clear night. Clear night, you can see them moving about up there. But just while I'm here, I'm going to quickly say about my books before we go. So this is my Guardians of Light and Brotherhood of the Night. That's me, T.A. Bird. You can find this on Amazon, Amazon Kindle, Kindle Direct. And if you have a download, you can download it, but it's there in book form if you wish. My other one is a short stories class, is erotica. It's called The Checkpoint. You can get this free on Amazon Kindle. If you got Kindle Unlimited, it's free, so you can get this book for free on Kindle. You can buy it on download for £4 or $4.99. I think it's $6.99 or less for a book. It's called The Checkpoint by me. There's a picture of me on the back with a little whiteboard. Please get it. Even if you get it on download, it's worth a read. Sorry, my dog is really playing me up tonight. I do apologise. So please be kind. Go out and buy one of those. That'd be great. If anyone has any stories, it's good to hear and see all of our followers. Thank you very much for keeping in contact with us, guys. And if you have a question or answers about why I get readings from the Geiger counter, please let me know. Apart from that, I've been Tina Bird here in Hampshire in the UK. I do apologise for my accent. I probably speak terribly, need some elocution lessons. But Tommy, over to you.
I appreciate Tina and good luck with your books. You can get in touch with her or me anytime. We'll bring you on the show if you have something good to say or something important to say. Ask us questions, please do. We'll answer whatever we can. We try to keep it as real as we can. We're not storytellers at any level. And I'm a rebel. I'm probably one of the worst rebels in the United States as far as the UFO world goes, because most of those people in the UFO world have no proof and can't go against people that don't have proof because they don't know the difference. So with that, I'll let you go, Tina. A
I've got to
pleasure.
let my dog out. She sounds going to
I'm glad
start
you told me
barking
this
again.
morning. I was
Thank you.
telling a story about the UFOs over Hawaii to somebody else. I got lost.
Well, hopefully we might have more news by next week or more visions. Please check out the Russia Today interview live on French TV. Check out the UFO spotted on the Isle of Wight, and there's updates on the Starlink and the cargo ship that went up, and also the United Emirates Hope. So we'll find out hopefully a bit more. I'll get some pictures next week for that. And from me here in the UK, it's goodbye till next week, guys. And thank you for coming in, and thank you for watching us. See you later, Tommy. It's been a pleasure. Bye-bye.
All right, people. That was Tina Bird. She's one of the coolest people that have been abducted that I know. That's 100% real. More proof about it than anybody else out there as well. The radiation thing, I was worried from the day one when we found out she was radioactive. And then she started telling me she was going through all these different problems. They kind of subsided a little because she was losing her hair and different things. But I just think for it to happen like that is an impossibility. So for it to be turned on, turned off, and why, and all the other things is really, nobody can answer that yet. If you know any top scientists personally, ask them. Ask them, can a person turn on radiation or have it, and it can come and go? All right. I'd love that answer because my brother's a chemist. I asked him. He said impossible. A couple other people said impossible. But you saw it here. You saw it on her little diagram, the same one I have. And but if you're interested in that yourself, go out and buy one. I mean, just to check your neighborhood. I drove from town to here. And when I passed the school, the radiation went off. And then I found out they buried bombs underneath the lot where they built the school. You know, it could help you. I can go on about that too. But what I want everybody to do, anybody that's here right now or sees this video, send this link to everybody else you know. Let them tune into the site every Tuesday. I do a couple shows on spiritualism. Yeah, I talked to Jeffrey, and I was supposed to do a show with him sometime soon. We're doing good. He's doing okay. So I just want to bring a couple things up before I close out the show. I watch TV constantly because when I'm on the computer, I leave the TV on. But I leave it on the ghost shows, Bigfoot shows, everything like that as well. I'm sick and tired of anything to do with the pyramids. All right. And it's just like, so what? Is it going to help us? Are we going to build pyramids and move ourselves into pyramids now? Look, we're way past that. It didn't help them, and it's not going to help us. But there's a show called Death Files, DEATH, Death Files. The psychic that's on there, I think, is one of the coolest psychics. I wish I knew her personally. And I just feel she's probably the top in her field. What she feels, what she senses, how she talks to the entities that are there, spirits, demons as well. Meaning, okay, she actually can sense anything. And then she has an artist, draw her pictures of what she sees. And then they confront the people in the house where they're living. She works with another person who works for the police force and everything. And he does all the investigation of the house, people that died there, what happened around the property. They don't talk about it until they go into the person's house. And then they go into the pictures that she drew, what she experienced, and what he uncovered. And it's 100% right on all the time. And it's open for people that have problems to call her to have them come out and work with you if they can. I'm trying to get Jeffrey Seelman, who is one of the top exorcists in the United States that I know, who's a good friend of mine, to see if she'd want to work with him because he does a lot of work over the phone. Because, I mean, to get a good psychic or a good person to come out to you, where if you're in who knows where, to have them come out there and everything, you start dealing with money. So if you could actually do it over the phone and things like that, I wouldn't want to do it over the phone. I told Jeffrey, I said, I can't work over the phone and I wouldn't want to. But if you can and you do and you help people, that's great. Because I need to see the person. I got to be there and if anything goes wrong, anything happens directly. I mean, if somebody OD while you're on the phone, you can't say anything to them. So here's the thing. We keep the show real. I deal with the only people that I know that I totally believe and trust in. Hopefully, this show I won't bring Jeffrey on because he doesn't want to just deal with UFOs, but I do a couple shows during the week when I have anything important to talk about, and we're supposed to do a show sometime soon together. We get in great conversation. We don't agree 100%, but we do agree on many things, which is good. Tina and me agree on many things. We don't agree 100%. To agree 100% on something is probably impossible on this planet anyway. So with that, people, I'm glad you tuned in today. Send this link out because it's always on YouTube and they can watch it tomorrow, tonight, any other time. And I want people, Death Files, right? It's a really cool show. It's been on 2 years. I didn't even know that. But you can pull it up online as well. But here's the thing. Nobody wants to talk about ghosts, spirits, and demons, which is just as important as aliens are because they're affecting people. They're hurting children. They're hurting families. They're even getting houses to burn down and things like that. We need to be aware that we're being attacked at many different levels, and I'll go into that story on my own show one day soon about the whole Montauk Project and how it related to the Philadelphia experiment and how it caused the problems to the world today. Tesla was involved with it, just so you know. So with that, people, it's been a pleasure. Tune in, text me questions, answers, whatever. Hawksblood1@AOL.com. Want a book on how to see a UFO? Text me. It's a field manual. It's a PDF file. It's about 200 pages. My other first 2 books I give away free as well as an ebook. My newest book, I didn't get it to a place where I can actually download it and give it away as a book. I don't know how to do that. I've been trying. Because I don't want to charge when I give it to somebody. I mean, if somebody wants to buy it, that's their choice. I don't mind. A couple dollars here and there, which is about all it comes to. But I would like to give it to people that I make friends with and stuff that they can read it so they don't have to buy it. And the other thing is, I'm trying to change my picture because I think too many people believe when they see that, they believe it's like somebody trying to tell a story about the Bible. When you talk about a person versus the Bible, it's a lot different. I don't consider, and Jesus never said he was a God. I do say this, people, he was the most spiritual person in a physical body to walk this planet. He had 32 psychic abilities, which nobody had. Moses had a lot of psychic abilities, but he didn't have all of them. All right. Jesus didn't use all of them. And the reason why I wrote that book, because I came aware of all my past lives, from Atlantis, which was one of the most important lifetimes I had, to the time I worked with Jesus. All right. And that was the second most important, probably the first important, next to Atlantis. Atlantis underneath it. But both of them created a universe, reality, and everything that's important to you, to this reality, and to all the other worlds beyond this, for me. And if I could get small parts of that out in any way, I will, and I do. So, like I said, email me, text me, however, if you want a book, the PDF file, let me know. Till next time, peace, love, compassion, whatever you need in your life, hope you get it, hope you work for it, and don't settle for anything less.